Today's conversation, when it comes to AI, is often dominated by headlines emanating out of US or China. But we cannot adopt AI which was built elsewhere. Our realities are very different. Most of Indians are using a phone which is priced at 6,000 rupees. We are multilingual, different accents, and most of Indians are first-time digital users, not digital natives. Our realities are different, and AI for India needs to be inclusive rather than exclusive. So which is why this conversation with Preeti I'm very excited about. And at the heart of tech transformation, AI, that's taking place in India, we have Google. And Preeti, this is a topic which is very close to your heart, inclusive growth and how we can use AI as a blueprint for inclusive growth. So sitting where you are, take us through the opportunity.
I think the real opportunity for India and Global South is really to use AI not just to catch up, but to leapfrog ahead. Because we've been given this unique technology to be able to solve some of our biggest systemic issues at scale. But for that, we need to build new models of development that reflect our languages, our culture, our people, indeed our constraints and our priorities. Now, AI can, should, and will be the foundation of inclusive growth. It can accelerate productivity, and it can close access gaps when we talk about healthcare, agriculture, and education, and help us solve problems at population scale. So the way we think about it is, there's a lot of hype, right? People say, is it gonna be real? And we talk about adding, say, 400 billion, through AI to our economy by 2030. But we deeply believe this in Google. Think about AI and measuring AI in how it will transform lives and not just balance sheets and P&Ls. And the way we need AI to be inclusive is based on three things. One, understanding our language and cultural context. We need to make sure that AI that is deployed understands the key languages in India or other countries in Global South. And for that, making sure that we are training AI through local data sets is absolutely key. And that is what we have been doing with our open source models like Gemma or project called Vani, where we provided data sets of local dialects in India to be made available to train models, because only then can it be deployed to be of value to every Indian. And then we are talking about building local capability. So it's about building compute and infrastructure locally, developing that pipeline of talent, because it's very important that we are not just implementing something that is developed elsewhere, we are also innovating. And last but not the least, it is if we innovate in a responsible manner and deploy it in the right manner, we can absolutely scale it, like I said, to close access gaps and leapfrog ahead.
So AI not just for economic value, but for real impact at scale.
Transforming the lives of every single citizen.
So AI has a lot of promise. But what about real progress? As you said that, at Google, you're solving for the constraints. You are training your data sets on different languages, understanding the culture. But there are constraints like there is no internet. Many families have one phone between them. Even then, there is intermittent connectivity. I mean, there are so many challenges to achieve this inclusive growth and have that impact, the desired impact.
So think about this. We've been India in deep partnership with India over 2 decades, right? And some of these constraints that you talk about, it's not just about a low-end smartphone or internet connectivity issues. It is about, just people having different cultural context or different levels of digital literacy. So I would like to say that we've been working on this, and by the way, we have been an AI company for several years, building AI into our search, maps, and all other products for years. So when we think about, how our products, so think about search or maps or even YouTube, we have carefully built our products, and if I may use that term, we make sure that if you're in a zone with low connectivity, the performance will degrade a little bit. The video quality or the audio quality may go down, but it'll come back up to that great quality once your network improves. So we've learned over the years as Google in India on how to make our products work for some of these constraints, how to have the lighter versions of our products on lower-end phones also. The second thing when you talk about these constraints is building in inclusive accessibility for all our products. We have invested hugely in smoothing out the UX interface, right? So think about Google Pay. From a street vendor who's not very digitally literate, they can use Google Pay to make payments and make a living, and to the most sophisticated users. So we have learned over time to make sure we have built that UX which makes our products inclusive, regardless of the quality of phone that you have and the internet accessibility that you have. And that thinking and that experience is what is continuing in how we are developing and deploying AI into specific apps and use cases. And we're also working with local partners, Rima, by the way. A very important part of our Google work here is to bring the best of our full stack approach. We have the infrastructure and compute, we have the cutting edge frontier models, and we are building apps. But we do it in partnership with local ecosystem developers, academia, research teams, so that everyone is thinking local and India first.
Hitendra, it's wonderful to have you back at the Global Leadership Summit. Thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to make a special mention because HSBC has been partnering with us, not just for the Global Leadership Summit, but for something else that is very, very close to my heart personally. It's our campaign called Future Female Forward, where we talk about the need for gender neutrality, gender parity in the workforce. So thank you again for partnering with us for both this as well as for Future Female Forward, Hitendra.
Only thing, you should have said it's close to our heart.
Yes,
not just yours.
I admit, that was a mistake. It is close to our heart, absolutely. But through the course of the day, we've heard the global economy being described as tenuous, as volatile, as uncertain. But there is unanimity and consensus as far as the Indian economy is concerned. Stable is perhaps the most sort of underrated adjective that I've heard so far this morning about the Indian economy. So let's put that in balance. What's happening globally with respect to what's happening in India? Hitendra, how do you see the picture today?
Yeah, so I think you said it yourself. I think if you look at the monetary policy statements or any policy statement of any central bank, ECB, Bank of England, Federal Reserve, Reserve Bank of India, I think the word that's been most commonly used is uncertainty, right? Because we are living through unprecedented times in terms of policy actions. And I don't think any of us, any policymaker, any sovereign has a playbook. What happens if your tariffs go to X levels? What happens if certain products you just are not allowed to export or allowed to import, etc. So far, I think we have to say that the wise people about a year back or at the start of the year were indicating that there would be deep recession by now. There will be highly inflationary economies by now. Now, whatever is happening, that's not the case. We are not at the cusp of a recession, and we are certainly not looking at runaway inflation of the types that were feared 8-10 months back or so. So if you sort of go by that narrative, and then to your question on India, right? I mean, you look at India, political stability, whichever way, 10, 11 years of extreme political stability. We get upset when we grow at 5.5%, right? Which is higher than the average rate of growth of the world. Inflation has been low and stable now for the last 7-8 years, more than it's ever been. We've got financial sector stability, market stability. So if you look at India in the context of a world which seems highly uncertain, clearly we shine out. We shine out in pockets. I think in the previous panel we were talking about how much infrastructure is getting built, etc. So yes, I think by all accounts, the moment is ours to seize as a country. Because if there is a shining beacon out there in the world which shows stability, promise, growth, certainty, then that's India. So now, as citizens, as part of the financial system, as part of the communication or the media system, or policymakers who've been here since morning. I think all of us are seized of the opportunity. Let's see what we do with it.
It is our moment to seize, as you put it, Hitendra Dave. But the HSBC Global Leadership was here in India a few weeks ago. We've got many global leaders who've been in and out of India at this point in time. One of the issues or the dissonance that's being discussed is that while there's a lot of interest, a lot of enthusiasm about the India story, the domestic market, as well as the opportunity to export from India, at this point in time, there seems to be some hesitation, some pullback, or a pause perhaps on FDI flows coming in. What's the sense that you get from the conversations that you're having? Is this a tactical pause at this point in time, given the uncertain waters we're in?
Yeah, so I think it's a very fair observation that on the one hand, we have this wonderful narrative of India, which we spoke in the earlier part just now. And then you look at the data, and it seems to suggest that the flows are not commensurate with the narrative that we have or with the visits by various boards, ours included, etc. But again, boards are responsible to shareholders, and they are all living in the same uncertain world, right? You set up a factory here, commit a very large amount of FDI running into hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, and then you suddenly find that product which you were producing in a country to export to another country, or the inputs for which were coming in from another country, either the supply chains are no longer as easy as they were, or the cost of import or the cost of export has changed, or the price of export has changed. So I think it's fully understandable, and we have to also understand this is all a 2025 phenomenon. We are not talking 5 years, 10 years of that period where
so you're saying it's more of a here and now issue?
Yes, it's a here and now issue, and I think any board member would want to be a little cautious, but I also caution against over-reading into this, the fact that FDI has not come in. I think if you visit the city of Hyderabad, that is FDI. The whole city is FDI there for you. It's just not in the conventional sense of factories and goods and on the trains. The whole
GCC story,
the whole real estate there, the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who are working there, they are receiving FDI every month, which is their salary. It doesn't come as one bulky $500 million, but it comes as 200,000 per person every month into whatever number of millions. So there are sectors where FDI is coming in, and at the numbers level, and I'm sure you're aware, but for the benefit of the audience here, our gross FDI number actually hasn't come down as much.
Yes.
But what has reduced is the net, and that is simply because of the very buoyant stock markets we had. We had the SEBI chairperson here in the morning. If you have opportunity to take some chips off the table, monetize some of your companies, and we've seen, then it's X coming in, Y going out. It's X minus Y, which has shrunk because there was no Y earlier.
Yes.
It was only X. So that's where I would
I'm glad that you brought up the capital market story, because why we have seen a lot of MNCs make use of the attractive valuations that the Indian market is offering and do sales here and take back that money. The other interesting aspect is also MNCs listing in India. We've had Hyundai list in India, LG list in India. Do you believe that this could be the start of a significant marked shift as far as the MNC in India story is concerned?
Well, I can only share what we are observing and what we are talking to our franchise globally. I think wherever me and my colleagues are traveling, especially in the Western world, but even increasingly now in the Asian countries itself, or when we are being visited by senior CEOs and CFOs and board members, the one topic that regularly comes up is, what do you think we should be doing with our Indian business? Okay, and to that extent, if there are 100 such conversations, that means 20 of them will become serious and 10 of them will actually convert into a decision to go and list the Indian. And again, I'm sure the audience knows, but you took the example of LG, right? I mean, or Hyundai. I think when we were part of the Hyundai deal, Hyundai globally was trading at a PE multiple of 5. By the time we listed the Indian company, that PE multiple had gone from 5 to 9, and the Indian company listed at a multiple of 23.
Yes.
And this is after they had taken out substantial dividend in the preceding few months. LG India is today valued at more than LG globally.
Yes, more than the parent.
So again, if you're a board member and you are seeing such amazing opportunities, it is only natural that some people will say, let's do the listing in India. And from an India perspective, I think we should welcome this change because
Do you believe that we're likely to see this continue,
Yes.
more of these listings?
yes, I think as long as our stock markets remain, especially the primary markets remain as buoyant as they have, and as long as the mutual fund Sahi Hai campaign continues to provide monies to domestic mutual funds and the retail individual investors, I think also we must understand some of these companies are also providing alternatives to the conventional Indian companies, right? They give you a global footprint, they give you
Yes.
global technology, global governance, things of that nature. So I think it's a welcome change, and it's a welcome development rather, I should say, and I suspect it will continue.
You know, we're talking about MNCs and their presence and their relevance in India. Let's talk about the global ambition and the global aspiration of Indian companies. We're also looking at a world at this point in time where global corporations are restructuring, global corporations are either divesting certain assets or are looking at joint ventures and so on and so forth. What opportunities do you see for Indian companies who are looking outside?
Yeah, again, I think for the benefit of the audience, I think one of the most active conversations we are having with corporate world right now is exactly this. There are companies available with very high quality manufacturing capabilities in Europe in particular, right? At valuations, just as we spoke about the valuations
Yeah.
on the listed side, even in the unlisted side, at valuations which are very compelling, technology which is very, very good. And on top of that, you have the Indian entrepreneur's ability to identify further efficiencies and further saves from an already efficient unit out there and then discover newer markets. So I think we have been part of dozens of such transactions just in the last 24 months.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked you the question. Yeah.
And just today we have closed 2 transactions of that nature. One is a hospital buying another hospital chain in UK. One is buying something in Europe. So, but it is not grabbing the kind of headlines that Chorus did or Jaguar did because the ticket sizes are more in the $200 to $500 million as compared to much larger. I think on the much larger ticket sizes, it does appear that the very large Indian companies have decided that this is my Karam Bhumi. I will produce wherever in the world, but I will sell to Indian consumers. And if you have to sell to Indian consumers at the price points at which Indian consumers are willing to buy, you essentially have to have your manufacturing capabilities also here. So the medium-sized and the small-sized entrepreneurs and businesses appear to be buying outside India. Maybe they'll bring the technology back or maybe they'll use it to sell it globally. But the large ones appear to be domestically focused.
You know, that's interesting that you talk about these $200, $500 million deals, and that's the kind of ticket size that you're seeing. And the aspiration of going global is more in the smaller enterprise level. Any sectors in specific where you believe we're going to see more of this kind of M&A, outbound M&A?
I think definitely in engineering goods, definitely in Germany, because just as we have a trend in India of the second or third generation not wanting to join the business, and that's a prominent corporate problem today.
Is that a problem that you're helping solve also? the next gen of Indian family businesses who don't want to do business anymore?
Yeah, many of us in HSBC are hoping to be adopted by some of those people actually. So
while you're at it, can you put in our applications as well?
so I think there is opportunity out there to do the business out there. And again, to the earlier part, how will India achieve its ambition, Viksit Bharat, $10,000 per capita? I think it'll have to be a bit of everything that will have to come together, apart from, female labor participation rates and things like that. So yes, I think there is wonderful opportunity and wonderful work to be done there.
I can't let you go without talking to you about what HSBC is doing to double down on your commitment in India. You talked about the various opportunities, but what does that mean as far as the bank itself is concerned in terms of hiring, in terms of what you intend to do here in India?
Yeah, so I think, I hope most of the people are a little familiar with HSBC, but we are a 160-year-old organization in India. We have full service from salary accounts, mortgages, credit cards, all the way to M&A, equity listings, debt capital markets, trade, payments, etc., etc. We are the only international bank which, in going back almost 10, 15 years, has asked for and been given approval by the Reserve Bank of India to open additional branches, 20 new branches. The first one of which opens in about 20 days, 28th of this month, so 20 days time or so. And so therefore, I think if there is a signal through actions, hopefully we are signaling that we are doubling down in this market. We think there is open-ended opportunity here to provide value add to our customers. And we think this economy needs a bank like ours, and a bank like ours needs an economy like this. So hopefully it will be a good narrative in the coming few years.
It's a win-win.
Yes, I think that's the right way to put it.
So 20 branches, new branches by when? The first, of course, you said by the end of this month. 20 new branches by when?
Yeah, I think the license conditions give us specific periods in which we have to open each cluster of branches. But just for context, right now we are there in 14 cities. By the time we end up opening these 20 branches, we'll be in 34 cities. So if you look at the map of India, we should be all over India. And therefore, any of you traveling through the country, if you see the logo which is up there, that's our branch. Please do visit. It's very expensive to open new branches. We could do with more customers.
It's hard to miss the HSBC logo if you're traveling through any airports in this country. Yeah. And now, of course, as you say, the logo is going to be across 34 cities in exactly. India. Hitendra Dave, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for giving us a perspective on what's happening with flows, what's happening with India, and how global boardrooms are looking at India. Always a pleasure. Many thanks for your time today.
Always
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Hitendra Dave.